Peace, love, and blessings, fam. Johnny Sally here with day 20 of Wisdom of the Ages by Wayne W. Dyer. If you've missed the previous episodes, you can catch them on YouTube at Loyalty Life Legacy, life spelled Lyfe, Loyalty Life Legacy LLC. Let's get into it. Truth, beauty. Old on a Grecian urn, old attic shape, fair attitude with bread, of marble men and maidens overwrought, with forest branches and the trodden weed, thou silent form dost tease us out of thought, as doth eternity, cold pastoral, when old age shall this generation waste, thou shalt remain in midst of other woe, then ours of friends to man, to whom thou sayest, beauty is truth, truth beauty. That is all ye know on earth and all ye need to know. John Keats. Probably the most talented of the English Romantic poets, John Keats gave us the practice to medicine. John Keats gave up the practice of medicine to write poetry. There is something in the universe that outlasts our individual mortal life. Whatever that something is perplexes all of us, and young John Keats, wrote about it poetically in his famous Ode on a Grecian Urn. As the poet contemplated the figures of the lovers on the Greek urn, he himself was grappling with mortality. His brother had recently transitioned in his early 20s, and he struggled with his own ill health, which claimed his life the following year at the age of 26. This poetic selection is the fifth and final stanza of Ode on a Grecian Urn. It concludes with two lines that summarize an approach to living that is transcendent and speaks to your own source of true happiness. I think about the message in Keats' poem every day when I look outside the window of my office. 2 months ago, my son and I cleaned out a wooden area in front of the townhouse where I do my writing. We clipped bushes and chopped down transitioning trees and gave quite a drastic haircut to my entranceway. Right in front of my window, we left what appeared to be a transitioning thin tree trunk with discolored bark, standing about 3 feet high. We decided to dig it out the following day, since we didn't have a shovel handy. One thing led to another, and I had to leave town on a lecture tour, and we ignored the transitioning stick in the ground. When I returned, I noticed some green leaves sprouting from this dried up protrusion, and I decided to forego the shovel. Today, as I look out my window, there are thousands of buds, green branches, and leaves covering the top of the unliving stick in the ground. It is a beautiful sight to see. The life force, invisible to my eye, is the eternity that Keats refers to when he writes, "When old age shall this generation waste, thou shalt remain in midst of other woe." And yes, this thou is a friend to all of us who says, beauty is truth, truth beauty. That is all ye know on earth and all ye need to know. The life force that seemed to bring that lifeless stick to life is what we can call truth. It simply is. Now each of us can view this truth and all the truths that eternity manages to manifest for us in any way we choose. What John Keats suggests is that we elect to identify beauty with truth and truth with beauty, period. Beauty is in that silent form which is eternal and which is our truth. To recognize this thou as a gift of beauty is to make peace with one's entire life. Throughout history, poets, philosophers, and scientists have equated beauty with the peacefulness of a fully realized life. The ability to appreciate beauty is a high-level characteristic in the full functioning people Dr. Abraham Maslow studied. Maslow was the original pioneer in studying man's potential for greatness. He identified specific traits that were unique to these highly functioning people he called self actualizers. Maslow called this peaceful state of awareness self actualization. Perhaps what he was describing was a unique kinship with truth. Emerson described beauty as God's handwriting, a wayside sacrament, and urged us all to never lose an opportunity of seeing anything that is beautiful. Keats seemed to go a step beyond merely appreciating beauty. He speaks of equating beauty with truth. So, what is your truth? First and most important, your truth is what is real for you. And what is real is what you experience with emotion or feeling. Thus, if you feel it, know it, and experience it, it is more than true. It is beauty made manifest. Your feelings of accomplishment are true and beautiful. Your appreciation of a loved one is true and beautiful. Your inspirations are true and thus beautiful. This invisible, eternal spark of life that Keats says is a friend to man is providing you with your truth, and therefore with beauty as well, should you choose to process it in this manner. Every time I look at what I thought was a dead stump outside my office window, and I see that life force expressing itself with beautiful green shoots, branches, leaves, and new growth, I think of the same life force that flows through me. It is my truth. I am sharing this eternal life force with that stick in the ground. And when my generation is turned to waste, the life force remains in the midst of those who will take my place. It is such a divine mystery, yet it is our truth. And consequently, I choose to call it beautiful. In my heart, I know that if we paved the entire surface of the planet, that thou that Keats refers to will cause a blade of grass to shoot up through the pavement. The eternal thou would spring up once again in bloom and beauty. It cannot be stopped, and that is the truth. It is also your truth. To paraphrase Keats, that on earth is all you need to know. When a heart opens to the experience of truth as beauty, one of mankind's most troublesome enigmas, death, is solved. Here is John Keats, racked with tuberculosis in his early 20s, facing the fact that his body will soon give up, yet opening to the beauty of the truth of life. See beauty in every place that you feel truth. That beauty/truth will imbue you. Know yourself and live your truth, and you will have beauty. It seems to me that in these enduring lines of poetry, John Keats was telling each of us to know our truth, to follow our hearts, and we will see beauty everywhere. To do otherwise is to lose our ability to appreciate and experience the ecstasy of life. That same invisible ecstasy that somehow manages to put life into a seed, a root, a blossom, even you. Make this poetic observation bloom beautifully in your life by practicing the following suggestions. First, examine what is most true for you. Where does your own personal truth reside? When do you feel most inspired and fulfilled? What provides you with the most inner satisfaction? What provides you with the most inner satisfaction? Your answers are the thou, that is the eternal life space within you, and the beauty that is engendered in the authentic you. Second, trust in your own assessment of what is beauty and truth. Practice your own truth by being independent of the opinions of others. If you feel inspired and it resonates as your inner ecstasy, then it is true and therefore beautiful as well. 3. Let go of judgments that classify the pursuits and interests of others as ugly, inappropriate, or inauthentic. Let go of judgments that classify the pursuits and interests of others as ugly, inappropriate, or inauthentic. Stay with your truth and allow others the right to feel of your acrimonious judgments. To be free of your acrimonious judgments, my apologies. Stay with your truth and allow others the right to be free of your acrimonious judgments. Practice beauty, appreciation in as many places as possible. Nature provides a virtual smorgasbord of miracles. See the beauty in all of it. Look for the divine, invisible thou that you know to be eternal, springing up everywhere. Capture it with your heart. If it is true, it is beauty. Keep this thought in mind and refuse to use your mental energy to see it otherwise. Truth and beauty do coincide. Now, truth is not necessarily fact, and that's why he said whatever is your truth. There are many of us that may have a truth that diametrically opposes what society feels we should be happy with or how we should want to live. For some of us who are spiritual, the spiritual practice or school of thought we chose could be judged and condemned by humanity, by society. So, in observing and accepting beauty is truth and truth is beauty, how beautiful is it that people still have the choice and opinion to disagree with something that you're entirely happy with? That's why when you learn to see yourself also as beauty and how you live your life as truth, it won't matter how anybody feels about what you like, about what you choose to do with your life. That's when you tell them that's a you problem, not a me problem, not a us problem, not a we problem. Because how I am choosing to live my life, as long as it sustains me and I'm not hurting anybody, I'm not bringing any harm to anybody, I'm not throwing any spells of, anger or hatred towards them. And that also means praying for somebody who's going or doing something that you disagree with. That's a form of magic that you're sending that person because you haven't learned to accept the truth and beauty that is you. Because once you are fully you and you're not concerned with things that others do that don't affect you, then you see the world differently. Also, when you step into that beauty, you begin to see the truth and the beauty in certain choices and decisions that you used to disagree with. You begin to look at some of the individuals of historical fact, and you begin to understand why they may have made the choice. You still don't have to disagree with it. You don't have to judge it. But there's beauty and truth. It's no different than when you watch certain movies and fall in love with the anti-hero or the villain, because you understand, I see why you did that. Y'all did what to his daddy? Oh. And in some ways, many of us are the villains. Why? Because our light shines in such a grand manner that it frustrates others around us. And the story that they tell, well, that light is more blinding than it is showing them the way. being present. I hope you begin to see the beauty and truth that is yourself in all things. And I ask you to walk in love, walk in light, walk in peace, and know that you are loved.